So you slip on a wet floor at the grocery store, and suddenly a lawyer is talking about your entire future like they own a crystal ball. That is not a guess. That is actuarial science, the same math nerds who figure out how long you will live so insurance companies can charge you the right amount. Actuarial tables started way back around 1843 with something called the 17 Offices Table, built by combining data from 17 British life insurance companies. Basically, a bunch of nerds pooled their death records and said, hey, let us figure out the average lifespan of a human being. Today, those tables still exist, updated constantly by groups like the Social Security Administration and the Society of Actuaries. They take your age, your gender, and sometimes your health habits, then spit out a number that says, on average, people like you live to about this age. Now here comes the twist, because a car crash or a bad fall does not care about your average lifespan, it can straight up shorten it. So the lawyer's job becomes proving exactly how much time got stolen from you, and that is where things get spicy. Enter the medical experts, the real MVPs of this whole operation, kind of like the referees at a football game nobody asked to referee. They look at your injury, your treatment plan, your prognosis, and they translate all of that into cold hard numbers a jury can understand. Think of a traumatic brain injury or a spinal cord injury, the kind that messes with breathing, mobility, or organ function. Doctors will testify that these conditions statistically reduce lifespan by a certain number of years, sometimes 5, sometimes 20, depending on severity. This is not just doctors guessing over coffee. This is backed by peer-reviewed studies published in journals nobody reads for fun. Studies tracking thousands of patients with similar injuries over decades, showing patterns like higher rates of pneumonia, blood clots, or organ failure down the road. Here is where a life care planner steps in, sort of like a project manager for the rest of your life. They map out every future surgery, every medication, every wheelchair ramp you will need, and attach a cost and a health impact to each one. Then the actuary takes all that medical prediction and marries it to the mortality tables from before. It becomes this weird but fascinating collaboration between science and statistics, calculating something called loss of life expectancy, which sounds dramatic because it kind of is. People often think this is just lawyers making up scary numbers to scare insurance companies into paying more, but it is actually the opposite. Courts require this evidence to be reasonable, peer-reviewed, and grounded in established medical literature, or a judge will throw it out faster than a bad Tinder date. A common misunderstanding is that shortened life expectancy only applies to deaths, but it also applies to injuries where you are alive but your body's systems are under permanent strain. Think of someone who loses a kidney or suffers chronic respiratory damage. Their remaining life expectancy gets recalculated based on documented medical research on those exact conditions. This is why these cases often bring in multiple specialists, a neurologist, a pulmonologist, sometimes even an epidemiologist who studies patterns across whole populations. Each one adds a puzzle piece, and the actuary is basically the person gluing the whole puzzle together into one number a jury can actually use. The rational takeaway here is preparation matters more than people think. Keeping detailed medical records after an accident is not just paperwork. It becomes literal evidence of your future. Skipping doctor visits or downplaying pain can quietly shrink the compensation you deserve later, even if it feels like no big deal today. So next time someone says lawyers just make up numbers, you can drop this whole explanation and watch their mind get blown a little. It is math, medicine, and history all working together quietly behind the scenes of something that seems as simple as a slip and fall. If any of this got you curious about how accident injury cases actually work behind the scenes, you want to learn more about our company? Check out our links in the description.